Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
And from OSHA Region 3, this is Safety Wars. As Jay Allen says, we're rolling here at the Residence Inn. You can figure out which one. Anyway, what's going on today? You know, I was not going to go on the air today, a little bit burned out. But then again, you have those conversations with people and you get reinvigorated. So, that's basically it. You know, we're out there, we're fighting things, we're fighting that safety war that we're always talking about. Trying to do good where we can. Trying to fight evil. Right? Like the new Superman movie, Truth, Justice, and the Safety Way. Again, who was it? Orwell that said, in a time of universal deceit, the truth is a revolutionary act. And that's basically where we're at today. What is truth? Are we living in a simulation? So one of the things Jay Allen had said in his recent book, the Safety Transmission Trilogy, is, yes, we're living in a simulation, but each one of us creates our own simulation because of our experiences, our context, our thinking, our intelligence, everything else that goes into it. So, one of the projects I'm on now, there is a sign on the wall that has guiding principles of the company. One of the guiding principles is we're going to assume good intentions by everyone. And I have a problem with that. There are people out there with bad intentions. That's my experience. There's people out there, most people have good intentions. Most people are good. They want to do good. They want to do well. But some people don't. It's their mission in life to F you around. It's their mission in life to manipulate you. Why do they manipulate you? They manipulate you, one, because they enjoy it. Number one, that could be one. And number two is trying to get a competitive advantage over you if you're dealing with business. Trying to get one over on you. Could be a lot. The safety world, what's some of the things that they do? They don't give you all the information to do the job. I had a former employer that was famous for this, where they would not give you the original contract on anything. And what would happen is he would be like, well, Jim, just go out here and do X, Y, and Z. You've done it a million times. Okay, I've done it a million times. I go out there and I do. Well, don't you know you were supposed to do X, Y, and Z? Well, if you would have given me the original scope of work in the contract, we would have done that. And then they didn't tell you to do it, right? Why? So they didn't have to maybe spend money on the laboratories, right? Analysis. They didn't have to do this. They didn't have to do that. Now all of a sudden, right? Oh, now all of a sudden they didn't. Now they have make more money on the job because they do less. They don't do the scope of work, but they bill for the scope of work and all this crap. And as my uncle says, do that a couple of times. They get caught, and you're out of a customer. This is the way it is. Checking the weather forecast. So, a lot of the projects here, especially in the summer, and if you're self-contained, like one of the projects I'm on now, you're pretty much self-contained. And we have, again, if you are a weather app, give me a call. Drop me a line, jim@safetywars.com, 845-269-5772. And we'll talk about advertising, because weather apps are something that have become essential. It used to be, back in the day, you'd go out there with you're relying on somebody with a lightning monitor on a facility. Now, guess what? The companies don't want the lightning monitors. So what happens is, or a lot of these job sites, they don't require them, especially the hazardous waste sites, which are mostly self-contained. So they're relying on the apps. This is what I learned last week. I'm sitting out here at the glorious view of the parking lot out my window. And I have the weather app open. I said, well, there was a storm coming through, and for grins and giggles, let me see how long it's going to take for a lightning to strike and for it to go up on the smartphone. And I'm holding the smartphone for you people at home on audio here. And I'm holding this, and it's like, so lightning would strike over there, and then anywhere from 2 to 7 minutes later, it would show up on the app. And since I have two cell phones, I was using two different apps. And both of them were about the same, but it takes 2 to 7 minutes for that to get there. Just like when I'm talking into the microphone here, it takes 17 seconds roughly for it to go, and I don't know why that is. That's what all the OBS systems are. Between the time I talk into the microphone and it comes into Safety FM. And 17 seconds. But anyway, there's a lag time in there. So what are you to do? The lag time is, what do you do? And that's compounded by the cellular service that you have. And there are three major ones in the United States here. You know what those are. And pretty soon we're going to have another one here. And what do we end up doing is, I tell people, I'm out on the job. I have one. Another safety professional has another one. So I said, what service are you on? I'm on this service, this company. Okay, what are you on? I'm on the other one. I'm on this one. And we got three of us together, and we all go on the same app. And this way, if there is an alarm coming, right, a lightning alarm, right, lightning in the area, and usually the standard is 10 miles. Who's going to get it first? One of us is going to get it first before everybody else. And what do you do on that? And a lot of employees, especially if they're equipment operators, they have the phones. Not that they're using the phones, but they're very sensitive to lightning. So they know that there's thunderstorm there, and they're going to have the app in the cab with them running. And what the rule is that we use is, whoever gets the alarm first, doesn't matter who it is, right? Doesn't matter who it is. They're the ones who go and they're the ones who go and do the sound the stop work. So that's another way of doing this. Sorry about that. We got, of course, phone calls in the middle here, and everything is an emergency. But what the idea, and that was about the weather too, had an element of the weather. Again, you have multiple layers. I hate single point failure. And what is capacity? Well, I'm sorry, what is safety? It's capacity, it's resilience. So if you're relying on one person with a weather app to call the shots, when to stop work, that's not going to work. So you have 2 or 3 other people, hopefully on different systems, right? And you have 3 major cellular networks in the country. So one of them, right, you have them on different. So now with that. And then you also train the people on that. So so for example, you being the lead safety person, you go out there and you say, hey, this is what we're doing. We have lightning in the forecast, roughly at whatever, well, let's say 2 o'clock, right? Because we're on the East Coast of the United States. That's about when you're going to get thunderstorms. And then you keep people alerted throughout the day. And it's not like it was way back in the day before you had an internet access and smartphones, pre-2009. And in reality, in 2004, I think it was 2004, I signed up for a service where, before smartphones, where you would go on to a certain website and they would give you weather alerts by phone. So you would get a text message. That's when you're paying for text messages. But one time, what happened? We had a tornado. I was living in Woodbridge, New Jersey. On the other part of Woodbridge Township, Fords, over by, if you're familiar with the area, I know I have people from Central Jersey here, over by Woodbridge Avenue and Edison and Fords, where it turns into Fords there. Used to be a Hess station. Now it's a Luke Oil, I think. We had a tornado come down there. So like 5:30 in the morning, I get a phone call on the thing, on the phone, and I pick it up. And it's like, yeah, seek cover, tornado in the area. And like 3 miles down the road, 4 miles down the road, there's a tornado. So these apps are good. We are pretty good. I mean, but you don't know. Then it was then. What's some of the other areas? What could you use? Your TV, but you're not always going to have that TV on. Pre-2009, a lot of jobs had a TV set up on site just for the weather reports in the morning. Right? Because that's what they did. That's another way. So you got TV. You have all different types of weather apps there. And you keep apprised of the things that go. And that's how you combat this. Now, yesterday in New Jersey, in the eastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, and southern New York, we're talking Rockland, Westchester, Putnam County, Orange County, that area, we had a whole series of thunderstorms come through with that. They got like 3 1/4, they said 3 1/4 inches of rain that came right on through, causing all different types of problems. Now, if you have that on, you also have the National Weather Service as a broadcast that they put on out there. And with that, so in Newton, New Jersey, for example, they had a situation where they had a road closure and had a partial road collapse right on the outside of town. The other thing is so I think, we talked about yesterday here and about Safe and Sound Week. This August, they're going to be talking about disaster preparedness. All right. So, again, there's a lot of resources out there. Every September, we're going to go into this. I think because of what happened in Texas, where they're still missing a bunch of people there. All right. They don't, this is going to be a major thing. How do we prepare? Are we prepared? Now, this is northern New Jersey. As of 6:35 a.m. this morning, they had roughly about 3,000 outages. And it even went to Atlantic City Electric in South Jersey there. So apparently they had stuff coming through South Jersey as well there. And they're, according to some reports, they're still having some power outages. So the question is, we know that a power outage is possible. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to prepare for that? Are you going to have a portable generator set up correctly in the backyard or in a secure area out in the open, not in the house? And, okay, now what are you going to do to secure that generator to make sure it's safe? Do you know how to use the generator? You're going to say, well, Jimmy, come on. Everybody knows how to use the generator. I work with people, and I know people that do not know how to use a generator. People are interested in going on over there to the damn light switch and turning on that light switch and getting light. That's all that you know about electricity. Realize that there are people out there, and if you're one of them, you can easily get educated. Anyway, I'm ranting on and on and on and on and on here. Now, we're going to, and that's what it is. Be prepared. Weather apps, things of that nature. I'm sure that this is going to be a nationwide debate now because of what happened in Texas on July 4th. And it's a shame that people have to die for us to be able to plan things out. But that should be no surprise if you're a safety professional because that happens all the time. Well, I never, and this is the problem with hazard assessment. I never saw that hazard happen. So therefore, it can never happen. How many times do we hear that? I've never heard of someone getting hurt with that. Well, you never heard of it, right? Or the latest was with pressure washers, right? The normal pressure washer. You go down to Home Depot or Lowe's, you get the 1800 PSI pressure washer. Now, I'm shocked because they're selling 3500 PSI pressure washers over at Costco. And 50, I'm like, man, that's a freaking a lot to handle for a consumer. Well, I've never heard of getting an injection injury. I had to hear this. I've never heard of getting an injection injury from a pressure washer. That's crazy. That's crazy, Jim. It's like, dude, the Water Jet Association has out a thing, has out a document that describes all the injuries you get from an injection injury from for them it's a water jet, but we're working with very similar equipment. Well, I never heard of such a thing. So what do I do? One time this happened, I have the video. I keep replaying it. I run across the street, and there's like a shopping club. We won't mention which one. I go and I get a loin of pork. It's about that yay long, right? And I said, for the safety, I go out and I throw the loin of pork on a piece of plywood. And I tell everyone was on their safety lens. I tell the guy with the pressure on, I said, now I'm going to have this on video, and we're going to blow the hell out of that pork with that. Just let it loose with that pressure washer. Well, we only got the 3,000 PSI tip. Why don't we get I said, 3,000 is enough. The guy goes and boom, blows a piece of pork right apart. I said, now, on Mythbusters, this is what they use for the analog for a human body is pork. Look at what it did to the pork. Completely blew that son bitch right apart. Oh, we didn't know it could do that. I told you you could do it. I told you. I had a video. Now do you believe me? You could get hurt with this thing? Oh, wow. We didn't know. Are you for freaking real? Yeah, this is the way people are with that. Because it didn't happen to me, therefore, it's not a hazard. I've never seen anybody, and therefore, we don't have to do any disaster preparation or emergency. We don't have to do anything. Right? Same thing happened. Oh, I'm on a roll tonight. Same thing happened during Superstorm Sandy. I had a company with two other people. We were going out and we were doing educational things on disaster preparation. Oh, that'll never happen. The government is prepared for everything. They're so good. And I said, well, yeah, like they're prepared for a biological problem. There's no pandemic. This is 2010, 2011. Not going to happen. What are you? You people are crazy. All right, that's one of the kind of comments we had. Then what happened in 2012? Superstorm Sandy. Whole tri-state area out of power for like 11 days. Some people more than 11. I was out for 11 days. Oh, I thought you said it. I called up one of them. I said, I thought you told me that this would never happen. I said, how was the government preparations for that? Oh, you lost all your food in the house that was in the refrigerator and freezer? Oh, you didn't have a backyard grill to cook? Oh, you had no, I was like, now you understand. And then it went for a couple of years. They had, the preppers and blah, blah, blah. By the way, 3.7 million people in this country, roughly, are doomsday preppers, right? Something, at least do some preparation on a certain level. Again, just because it doesn't happen to you doesn't mean it cannot happen. This is like Dusty Rhodes out of context here, right? If you know who that is. So let's go to our first commercial break and let Jim calm down a little bit.
Safety Wars is streaming now.
SafetyFM.com.
From the front lines of the safety war, it's Safety Wars, with your host, Jim Posel on Safety FM. Get ready to face the harsh reality.
Have you listened or watched the Safety War show? It does stream live on the radio and on the streamer-emers that we have. So if you have not taken a listen to Jim Posel and what the hell he's doing every evening with Safety Wars, I would strongly encourage you to take a view or take a listen, whichever option is available for you, and take a listen to what the hell he has going on. It will take some deep dives and some information that you might be interested in.
In a world where danger lurks in every corner, one man stands as a beacon of hope. Jim Posel, a veteran safety expert with over 3 decades of experience, now bringing his knowledge to you with Safety Wars. Engaging, informative, and always relevant. That's Safety Wars. Join the safety revolution with Safety Wars, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts and videos.
I don't think people understand the true cost of negligence in construction. A suburban Madison contractor with a deadly track record is in hot water again. Already cited for fatal safety violations in 2022, the company was caught exposing workers to deadly fall hazards in February 2024. During a federal inspection, 6 employees were found working 12 feet up without protective gear. OSHA slapped them with 1 willful, 2 repeat, and 5 serious violations, proposing $144,505 in fines. Just 4 months ago, OSHA found similar hazards at another site, leading to more citations. Back in 2022, a worker was crushed by a 1,000-pound wall. The company was cited for 11 violations and has been a deadbeat and hasn't paid any of the penalties. OSHA's Chad Greenwood stated, "The company shows a blatant disregard for worker safety. Stay informed and stay safe. Visit safetywars.com. Listen to us on your favorite podcast platform as Safety Wars."
The safety war has begun. The risks are out there, lurking in every corner of the workplace, threatening our most valuable asset, our people. But we have a plan. Led by Jim Posel, we are the last line of defense in this battle against danger and negligence. We will fight for safety, for compliance, for the right of every worker to return home unscathed. Join us on this journey through the unknown, where vigilance is our weapon and knowledge is our shield. This is Safety Wars, our fight, our duty, our mission. Heard regularly on your favorite podcast platform as Safety Wars? Visit us at safetywars.com.
And we are back. So, what do we have going on here? We're going to talk about, as usual, government news. But we're going to borrow a byline, an old byline. I don't think they use it anymore. We're going to report and you decide on this. I'm just reading over the reports here. We have stuff from Homeland Security, and what do we hear? We hear from the left, "I'm just this, I'm horrible." And then you hear from the right, "Isn't it such a wonderful thing?" I'm going to go, and like we always do, we're going to go over government reports, government press releases. Why? So you guys could decide for yourself. We're not here to manipulate, not here to F you around. We're not here to do anything else. We're just going to report. You decide what's true and what is not true. Because for the time being, unlike Europe, you're allowed to do that in the EU. Because there's a report from the European Union that if you don't say things that are popular, now you broke the law. And shame on you. Oh, yeah. So, we're going to mosey on over to, and I'm going to do a share screen here, with the EPA website. Right, so, going on here, this has not been updated someone asked me over the weekend what my opinion was on Lee Zeldin. I said he's looking for a higher office. That's obvious. That's 100% obvious to me. Why is that? Look at his schedule. Just go through here. Let me pull up the news releases here. All right. Every day, and he's doing like the Biden administration did, every day there is a press release here. And I tell you what, he's going all over the place here. Here we have EPA meets with leaders of 30 tribal nations. EPA at site in Albuquerque here. He's out there. In case you missed it, Administrator Zeldin was celebrating American Independence Day. And, the guy's like a globetrotter here for the EPA. My opinion, Jimmy's opinion here is that don't be surprised. Don't be surprised when he goes and he becomes running for president. There are some people out there that are saying because of his religious background, it's going to be an uphill battle because we're having a lot of stuff with Israel and everything else. I say, you know what? I think he might be the perfect person to handle it, for all I know. With that, and it's going to be a wait and see kind of thing. And we'll talk about presidential politics later on as it comes up, but as I see it with him, he's going to be running for higher office, president, vice president, what have you, because he's going through and he's meeting with a lot of people on environmental stuff. Here we have from the U.S. Department of Labor. U.S. Department of Labor, Education, implement workforce development program. This is added today out of Washington. Today, the U.S. Departments of Labor and Education announced the implementation. I thought education was being eliminated, but anyway, apparently not. Announced the implementation of a workforce development partnership to create an integrated federal education workforce system. The Labor Department will take on a greater role in administrating the adult education and family literacy programs funded under Title II of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act and career and technical education programs funded by the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education Act. The programs will be managed alongside the Department of Education staff with continued leadership and oversight by education. The Workforce Development Partnership marks a major step in shifting management of select education department programs to other agencies, partner agencies. Our bloated federal bureau, and this is a quote for Labor Secretary Lori Chavez de Raymer. Our bloated federal bureaucracy has made it increasingly difficult to administer workforce development programs effectively, and our students and workers have been left behind as a result. Under President Trump's leadership, we are restructuring to meet the needs of our workforce, said de Raymer. I'm excited to team up with the Secretary McMahon as we work together to provide states with clearer guidance, reduce regulatory burdens, and wresting the right resources that are directly invested in opportunities for America. I had to add that, right? Secretary McMahon, right? Wrestling, right? WWE. The current structure with various federal agencies, each managing pieces of the federal workforce portfolio, is inefficient and duplicative. Support from the Department of Labor and administrating Department of Education's workforce programs is a common sense step in streamlining these programs to better serve students, families, and educators. And it gives you a very lengthy thing and references Executive Order number 14278, which is, let's click on that. Anyway, doesn't add anything to it with the Executive Order. Why even reference it and link it? I don't know. That's what's going on there. Let's head on over to the Department of Homeland Security here. Oh, well, we have census. Let's start it with a census. Let's start easy with the census. So this is a immediate release from Thursday, June 26, 2025. And let's remember, the census has something like 156 different surveys going on at one time. we know what my opinion is on that. If you're a listener, I think they're asking too much, and we're being data mined. And at a certain point, you get tired of being data mined. To what end, right? To what end? I mean, yes, data, but guess what? It can be used for good. It can be used for evil here. And often it's used to divide us. Older Americans, and it's from Thursday, June 26. Older Americans outnumber children in 11 states and nearly half of the U.S. counties. This is an important thing. Why is this important? Healthcare costs, right? The U.S. and education, right? Don't have a lot of young people. Guess what? You don't need the schools. U.S. population age 65 and older rose by 3.1%. That's 61.2 million, while population under the age of 18 decreased by 0.2% to 73.1 million from 2023 to 2024, according to vintage 2024 population estimates. What are those? The population housing, those are population housing data sets. And they generate a lot of data here. I just clicked on that over if you're following along at home. And other highlights. In 2024, the U.S. median age reached a new record high of 39.1, up 0.1 years from 2023 and up 0.6 years from 38.5 in 2020. Regionally, the West and South had the lowest median ages, right? Those are the youngest. Northeast had the highest, and followed by the Midwest. Maine's population in 2024 was the oldest, with a median age of 44.8. Utah's was the youngest at 32.4. Women outnumbered men by 3.4 million, making up to 50.5% of the U.S. population. And then it breaks it out by race. We all know what I feel about breaking things out by race. All right, and I think especially now with the 23andMe and the other online databases for DNA, I think that this is all has become totally ridiculous at this point. We are one race, that is the human race. Not saying that we have different ethnicities and everything thrown in there, fair enough. But, what it is. Census Bureau releases schedule for income, poverty, and health insurance statistics and American Community Survey estimates. The U.S. Census Bureau is set to release the 2024, and this is from July 15th today, poverty and health insurance statistics for the current population survey, CPS, and the American Community Survey in September. So there's no embargo on this, they said, so stay tuned in September 9th. Annual income and earnings inequity estimates that can be used to evaluate national economic trends and their effect on the well-being of households, families, and individuals. National 2024 poverty statistics, annual poverty and supplemental poverty measures, estimates to gauge the economic well-being, and it goes on and on and on. So, if you were one of the 450, I believe it is, households that got this survey, this is where it's being compiled. This is the data for this. Again, my opinion, I don't think that you should be collecting all this data. But this all goes into our credit rating and things of that nature. And how do they use it? Oh, this signifies how we, as the American public, are one big ATM machine here for everybody else. Oh, yeah, back in 2009. One of the New Jersey, one of the towns was going under. I won't mention which one. And they're actually going to seize property under eminent domain and the most expensive houses in town and then sell them to make up the budget thing. Yeah, they can do the budget default. Yeah, they can do that. Right? Census Bureau releases new estimates from the National Experimental Wellbeing Statistics. U.S. Census Bureau today released new estimates, and this is from yesterday, from its National Experimental Wellbeing Statistics. So what do they say? Starting in 2019, non-responsive rates increased more, for low-income than high-income households. So there's a non-responsive bias. Bias in data and common knowledge in the statistical world can occur, right? So, again, they're trying to, what's the article about? It's about trying to make things more accurate and by addressing bias. Starting in 2019, non-responsive rates increased more for low-income than high-income individuals. Starting in 2020, income declined in categories that are generally better reported, and increase in categories often underreported. Well, maybe that's because of COVID. These biases can be varied by year and group, right? And again, it's nice that they're going out there and identifying biases here. And here we have the data set here on this. Again, good. Well, they actually have slides. Ooh, what do we got here? Oh, we have 31 different slides here. This, again, if very detailed here. So Census Bureau releases a lot of stuff. Now we're going to go down. Oh, here, I got to go take this off. All right. So some other news here. Factory worker 19 sucked in and killed by meat grinder, despite desperate colleagues' attempts to save him. And this is from this morning. Actually, this is published this afternoon in the U.S. Sun by Carson Holliday. A teenager working at a burrito factory has been killed by a meat grinder. The 19-year-old screamed for help as he was sucked into the machine, but his co-workers could not save him in time. And they have a picture, an example here. I mean, this is horrific. The after-hours sanitation worker was cleaning up an industrial food bay processor, was suddenly activated at 9:30. We're talking about a 1910-147 violation there under lockout tagout. And I'm sure they're going to crucify this company. His co-workers heard him screaming and raced to help. They tried to turn off the machine, but could not stop it in time. And this was in Vernon, California, at Tina's Burritos Factory, about 5 miles from South Downtown L.A. He was cleaning an empty kettle that was being sanitized and prepped for the next day's production run. After the accident, people that appeared to be factory workers were seen looking distressed outside the building. According to footage obtained by NBC affiliate KTLA, some of the employees appeared to be crying. Some they were in distress. No foul play is suspected. And, of course, the thoughts and prayers are with the family. I say that half jokingly because they could have prevented this. This was preventable. Lockout, tagout, folks. And, of course, Cal OSHA is doing an investigation. This is horrific here. But anyway, let me mosey on over to more government reports. And again, I'm just reporting here. This is from WhiteHouse.gov last Friday. President Trump announced $92 million in investments, having to do probably with a trade deal today. He was in Pennsylvania Energy and Innovation Summit today. So with that, and he had some remarks. Here we have from the Federalist. That was a link from WhiteHouse.com. ICE rescued kids from likely exploitation at marijuana farm, and Democrats are furious. This was a linked story from the Federalist. Let me point out to everybody here with this. We have, according to the Associated Press, at the end of last year, roughly 300,000 children unaccounted for in this country. Child labor, for me personally, is a major issue here because children are exploited. They don't know any better. The ones that are working want to do a good job. They want to act like an adult with a job, but they're not adults. They're children. And to have people out there employing them and not watching out for them and violating their rights, it sucks. It is wrong here. Again, safety is a human right. It's a civil right. Safety in the workplace. Democrats are continuing their assault on immigration and customs enforcement by faking outrage, and this is from the Federalist here, not Jimmy Posel, over a raid where officers saved illegal alien children from an alleged child labor operation on a marijuana farm in Southern California. ICE agents on Thursday, this last Thursday, executed a federal search warrant at a Ventura County marijuana growing operation, where 10 illegal alien children were found, 8 without an adult, allegedly staffing the farm. I don't have their age breakdown here. And footage from the raid showed violent protesters throwing rocks at agents. Going on and on and on. Again, violence begets violence. Here's another one from Department of Homeland Security. I'm just reading these off. ICE takes down convicted illegal alien sex predators and pedophiles over the weekend. The Department of Homeland Security today announced criminal illegal aliens arrested over the weekend, including sexual predators, pedophiles, and child abusers. Despite a nearly 700% surge in assault against ICE agents and DHS law enforcement, officers continue to make communities safe. And going on here, some things, and they list the people here that they arrested. And let's remember, everyone is innocent till proven guilty. ICE and CBP arrest at least 361 illegal aliens during marijuana grow site operation and rescue at least 14 children. All right, so again, I think this was a lot of the same stuff going on here. And you had rioters. ICE takes down convicted illegal alien sexual predators and pedophiles. This was I think they're issuing multiple press releases here. With that, take your fact check. ICE provides multiple meals per day to criminal illegal aliens held at detention facilities. Again, I'm just reading them, right? Because nobody else does. Today, the Department of Homeland Security is setting the record straight on NBC's false claims that illegal aliens who are held at immigrations and customs enforcement detention facilities are receiving inadequate amounts of food. Any claim that there is a lack of food or subprime conditions at ICE detention centers are categorically false. All detainees are provided with proper meals, medical treatment, and have opportunities to communicate with their family members and lawyers, said Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin. Meals are certified by dietitians, ensuring the safety, security, and well-being of individuals in our custody is a top priority at ICE. Why does the media continue to push the lies of criminal illegal aliens in detention and villainize ICE? Again, everybody has their own point of view on here. Immigrants in overcapacity ICE detention say they're hungry, raise food quality concerns. Claim detainees say meals are now half the size of what they were last year, and they don't receive dinner until midnight. Allegations false. Allegations that there are chronic food shortages are unequivocally false. Each ICE facility's food service operations director conducts a review of food portions, and detainees are fed the proportions prescribed by the government nutritionists, I added that, based on a 2,400 to 2,600 caloric intake. Claim. A health department report from Tacoma, Washington responded to 57 cases of suspected foodborne illnesses and determined the illnesses came from reheated collard greens. False. While the health department was notified, the on-site medical team concluded there was no evidence linking the illness to a specific food item as declaimed by the detainees. Claim. In Wynn Correctional Facility, Louisiana, a Russian immigrant said he lost weight due to small proportions since being detained. False. Right? The facility has no food complaints from any Russian detainees. The detention standard compliance officers has not observed any food issues or complaints while conducting site visits. Claim. A detainee says that there is too little food at the El Paso Processing Center. False. The dietitian of her meal from the El Paso Service Processing Center was recently reviewed and indicates the total caloric intake for ICE detainees at the facility is 3,436 calories per day, which exceeds the average daily. Right? Again, we're hearing a lot of crap out there. Let's try to put some truth to it. Let's get what this is. So my question is, my whole thing here is, in going through these government press releases, is what is being reported by the media, right, compared to what is being reported by the other side. You decide, because the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? We're doing the YMCA thing with my hands here, right? But ICE employee attacked by rioters after Congressman doxes him to mob a California marijuana facility. U.S. Representative, and again this is alleged from a government press release, U.S. Representative Salud Carjaval, Democrat from California, was among the mob of rioters who attacked the federal immigration authorities as they executed a criminal search warrant at a marijuana facility. Representative Carjaval doxed an Immigration and Customs Enforcement employee who was subsequently attacked by rioters and sent to the emergency room. During the enforcement operation in Carpinteria, California, Representative Carvajal spoke to ICE public affairs specialists who gave the congressman his business card. The congressman then showed the ICE employee's business card to the mob, making a target out of him. The employee was subsequently attacked with lacerations to his left hand due to a rock being thrown at him. The employee had to go to the emergency room and get stitches for his injury. When ICE announced his actions led to an ICE employee's injuries, the congressman deflected from his own actions by claiming oversight and falsely labeled the crowd as peaceful protesters. He did not address the injuries of the ICE employees sustained as a result of his actions. Unfortunately, this is another case of lawmakers labeling political stunts as oversight when they endanger the safety of ICE personnel. Okay, and there's a, looks like Twitter or X here. Yesterday from Representative Salud Carvajal. Yesterday in Carpinteria, eyewitness ICE agents using unnecessarily aggressive and militarized tactics against local farm workers and peaceful protesters. It was appalling. This is not how we keep our communities safe. As a member of Congress, I have the legal right to oversee federal operations, yet I was denied entry. And I'm not going to, it's highly inflammatory here with this. The next paragraph, I'm not even going to go into it. The operation led to the arrest of 361 illegal aliens and the rescue of 14 migrant children who were victims of potential exploitation, forced labor, and human trafficking. During the enforcement operation, and officers were surrounded by a mob of 500 rioters who threw rocks and other objects at law enforcement and their vehicles. Furthermore, several of the illegal aliens arrested at the facility had extensive criminal records, including rape, kidnapping, serial burglary, attempted rape, attempted molestation, DUI, and hit and run. All right, so that goes on that. Here is an update released today. The migrant children have been turned over to Department of Health and Human Services, and they list everybody here who been accused of stuff. Restoring order. ICE arrests illegal alien with 40 criminal convictions. This was released today. The Department of Homeland Security today announced U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested criminal illegal aliens with egregious criminal histories from child sexual abuse, right, to organized drug trafficking conspiracy to defraud the United States. Okay, we're at 49 minutes here, right? Among the most egregious arrests was a guy who's an illegal alien from Jordan. So you think of people being from south of the border, but they're from everywhere, right? Taken into custody by ICE. in Atlanta. The person has a staggering 40 prior criminal convictions, including sexual battery in Georgia and possession of cocaine with intent to distribute. Here's another one. Someone from Mexico convicted of facilitation of aggravated sexual battery on a 4-year-old child. Here's another one. Convicted of drug trafficking in Salt Lake City. Here's one from Nigeria. Convicted of forgery, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and fleeing in a vehicle in Oklahoma City. And, you would think that these are, everybody's from south of the border. Not true. Not true at all. And for our last from the Department of Homeland Security, it announces ICE law enforcement are now facing 830% increase in assaults. The Department of Homeland Security announced that immigration and customs enforcement officials are facing an 830% increase in assaults from January 21st, the day the president was inaugurated, to July 14th. And some other stuff here. Again, they have pictures of the ICE agents' front lawn here. Right? Earlier this year, Representative McIver from New Jersey trespassed and stormed out of Delaney Hall Detention Facility, where she proceeded to physically assault an ICE officer. She's been indicted on federal assault charges. In Portland, ICE officers have been doxxed and threatened by local Antifa-affiliated organizations who are posting pictures of their personal addresses and threatening them and their families. One officer even had an individual show up their house and dump trash on their lawn, which included signs that read, "Bleep you," and named the officer directly. I have a picture of it here. And they're saying, the media is not being accurate here and everything else. So, I don't know with this. I'm going to say this much. We do not have... Everyone's into manipulation. I'm going to be reporting on things here. I'm just reading press releases here. I'm not giving one opinion one way or another, except for this. Congress has got to do its job and straighten this crap out. We can't continue to divide people. We can't continue to antagonize people. But on the other hand, we have to enforce the law here. With this, and face some of the other issues that we've discussed here on this program, which include what? They include demographic situations. We go into demographic. We're one of the only programs that goes out there regularly. We have a demographic problem. We don't have that old population pyramid that we learned in ecology class, right? Once that gets lopsided, biased towards the top, you have got problems. And all of our systems are based on it not being lopsided at the top. The way it is. Demographers say we can solve the problem in 3 generations. But I'm going to say this. I don't see where American women are going to be okay with going back and having 4 to 5 children. En masse. I don't see that happening. Sorry, guys. I know there's people in the, on the right that are going to be pissed off at me for saying that. I don't see it happening, so there's got to be another solution here. Unfortunately, like President Clinton and Secretary Clinton have said, among other people, we don't have enough young people. We have low birth rates. And that's why we have immigration here to make up for that. Europe has been doing that since the mid-1960s, late 1950s, because of their losses during World War I and World War II. And the time in between there was the Spanish Civil War. Okay, how much more do we have left here? We are at 54 minutes. So we're going to go and we're going to cut it short here. So, and we'll let's see here. We'll end it right now. So we'll see you tomorrow again, Monday and Tuesday. People should call me up and piss me off a lot more. That's all I have to say. So we're going to end with our outro, and we're going to finish up with our usual AI music at the end. I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, that was like Weird Al sort of thing. So here we go.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
People make mistakes, no it's true. Falling down and rising up anew. Learning from the scars and heal the bruise. Everybody's got their own excuse. Context drives behavior, can't you see? Past and present shape our destiny. The way you act is not just up to me. In this dance we're bound by history. Late fixes nothing, we're wasting time. Pointing fingers never solves a crime. reflection of their inner core. Late fixes nothing, we're wasting time. Fixes nothing, we're wasting time. Pointing fingers never solves a crime. Pointing fingers never solves a crime. Lift each other up and let us climb to better heights and brighter dawns we find. Okay, 3, 4. Leaders show their colors when we fall. In their hands they hold the rise or sprawl. How they lift us changes us and all. A reflection of their inner core. Late fixes nothing, we're wasting time.